Today's episode is for the 24th day of the month of Cheshvan. I apologize in advance for my voice. I am a little bit under the weather, as you can hear. We will be completing chapter 17, discussing the laws of Shema, going from paragraph 8 through paragraph 10, and we'll be starting chapter 18, discussing the laws of Shemoneh Esrei, the Amidah, doing paragraphs 1 and 2. Paragraph 8. When we finish saying the last paragraph of Shema, we say the word emes, which means truth, which is really the first word of the next paragraph. However, we want to connect that back to the last few words of Shema. The last few words are Hashem Elokechem, means Hashem your God. So you want to add on the word emes, which means truth. So Hashem your God is the truth, because there's a verse in Jeremiah which says that Hashem our God is emes. So you want to also get that little thing in. So we connect the last paragraph of Shema with the paragraph of Emes V'Yatziv, which follows Shema. The Chazan, the one leading the congregation, also says those words, Hashem Elokechem Emes. There is a bit of a couple opinions. Does he say that last word Emes or not? So either way works. So if you know there's a custom in the shul, in the synagogue, then whatever the custom in the synagogue is. But then he repeats again out loud, Hashem Elokechem Emes. And the reason for that is that there are 245 words in the Shema. According to Jewish tradition, there are 248 limbs in the human body, and every word of Shema gives spiritual strength to each of our limbs. So you want there to be 248 words to give strength to all 248 limbs of the body. So when the Chazan, when the leader, repeats those last three words, Hashem Elokechem Emes, that's bringing up the number of the words to 248. Now let's say somebody's praying alone, so they don't have a Chazan, there's no leader repeating the last three words. What do? So if you look right before Shema, there's words that are written out very small, which say Kel Melech Ne'eman, God the trusted king. So if we're praying alone, we're not praying as part of a congregation, so there's no repetition of the words Hashem Elokechem Emes, so we're really left with only those 245 words. We say those three words before we start Shema, and that brings us up to the number of 248. So those three words at the beginning of Kel Melech Ne'eman, we only say if we're saying Shema by ourselves. Paragraph 9. One is not supposed to interrupt the Shema for any reason. You can look in the back of the article Siddur for unique cases. But generally speaking, we're not supposed to interrupt Shema. But sometimes you have no choice. If somebody has to go to the bathroom or something of that sort, we're not allowed to daven when we have to go to the bathroom. So we have to interrupt Shema to go to the bathroom. So do we have to start Shema from the beginning now, or could we just pick up from where we left off? So the way it works is that if you took a break which is long enough to say the whole Shema in, not from where we were up to until the end, but rather say the whole Shema from beginning to end. If you're out for that long, then you have to start over from the beginning. If you're out for less time of that, then you can keep going from where you left off. Paragraph 10. Let's say you said Shema already, you prayed earlier, and now you're in a synagogue and the congregation is saying Shema. So even though you already said Shema yourself, it's appropriate for you to say Shema along with everybody else. Imagine everybody else is declaring their belief in God, and you're going to stay silent. That's not appropriate. So even though you don't have to do it for the mitzvah of saying Shema, the mere fact that everyone around you is doing it, you should be doing it as well. This also applies. Let's say you're praying at a later minyan. You're not praying right now, but you're in the shul. And everyone else saying Shema. You should say it again. You should say it with them also for the same reason. However, because you're not saying Shema, you're not praying right now, you should have in mind to not fulfill the mitzvah of Shema with your recitation of Shema, because you're not saying the blessings surrounding Shema. This only applies to the Shema itself. You don't see the blessings surrounding Shema now. You only see that when you're actually praying. And therefore, you should have in mind, I'm not doing the mitzvah of Shema right now. I'm only saying it to say it with everybody else. But because everybody else is saying it, but I'm not doing my mitzvah of Shema. Later on when I pray, then I'm going to say my mitzvah. I'm going to do my mitzvah of Shema along with accompanying blessings. At the end of the service, we have a paragraph which is very well known called Aleinu. So there too as well, when we're saying Aleinu, where we're declaring our belief in God, our connection to God. So there as well, if we happen to be in a shul, we're not praying with them, but they're saying Aleinu, says the Cheshvan Aruch, the same thing, we're supposed to say Aleinu with them, even though we're not completing our own davening, our own service, our own prayers. Chapter 18, the laws of Shemoneh Esrei, the Amidah, the silent devotion, we're speaking one and one to God. One of the climaxes, one of the high points of the prayer service. By way of introduction, all prayers, morning, afternoon, evening, and even additional prayers, the musaf that we have on the holidays, we have the extra on Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh, On Yom Kippur, we have a fifth prayer we add into the day called an Ilah. All these prayers have a high point of the Shemoneh Esrei. We're speaking one-on-one to God. Everybody recites it quietly to themselves. They're going to see your sister say it loud enough that you could hear, but nobody else should hear. They should hear the words that you're saying. So paragraph 1. When the Shemoneh Esrei of the morning service, when does that what's called morning? When could you start praying it? When is the latest time to pray it? So the earliest time is sunrise. You could check sunrise on any calendar. You can even Google sunrise location and date. That will tell you sunrise. The latest time really should be, you should finish praying by the fourth halachic hour of the day. Remember the way halachic hours are calculated. You take the daylight hours, divide it in 12 parts, and each of those is a halachic hour. So this will change from season to season, from day to day. So you could take a look again at myzmanim.com. You put in your location, it will tell you what the different times are. So the Shemoneh Esrei is supposed to be completed by the fourth halachic hour of the day. Now, if due to circumstances beyond your control, you're not able to pray by the fourth hour of the day, you have until midday, what's called in Hebrew chatzos, halfway through the day, to finish your Shemoneh Esrei. If you miss that, then you can't say it anymore. And we're going to see in a couple chapters down the road, there's a way to make up that Shemoneh Esrei that you missed, to make it up later in the day. But you missed the morning services. Paragraph 2. Shemoneh Esrei in the Art School Siddur, again using the Wasserman edition of the Art School Siddur, begins on page 98, the morning Shemoneh Esrei at least, and ends on page 118. If you look at the page before Shemoneh Esrei on page 98, around halfway through the page, then there are instructions there to rise for Shemoneh Esrei. This is the last couple lines of the paragraph which begins Ezras Avoseinu, the helper of our fathers. We rise before we say Tehillos Kal Elyon, before those last two lines of that paragraph. We take 3 steps back over there. We stay standing back 3 steps back while we say the next paragraph of Michamocha, and then we take 3 steps forward as if we're approaching God, like we're approaching a king. We're coming up to God. We're not supposed to, that last line before Shemoneh Esrei, which ends off Ga'al Yisrael, thanking God for redeeming us, we're not supposed to have any break, no matter what, between Ga'al Yisrael and the beginning of Shemoneh Esrei. However, what should you do if you hear the Chazan? If you finish Ga'al Yisrael, then you hear the leader of the congregation say, finish his blessing. He says Ga'al Yisrael. So normally, you should say Amen when you hear somebody finish a blessing. But over here, we're not supposed to have any interruption. So there are a few ways of getting around it. It's very common that some shuls, the Chazan, the leader of the congregation, he'll say the last few words of the bracha, he'll say Ga'al Yisrael quietly so nobody hears him. Therefore, no one has to say Amen. You could finish, if the Chazan is saying it out loud, you could finish your blessing of Ga'al Yisrael along with the Chazan, because then, as we learned, you don't say Amen to your own blessing, and if you say the same blessing to somebody else and you finish at the same time, you don't say Amen, so you get around it that way. Another way of getting around it is going a little bit ahead of the Chazan, of starting your Shemoneh Esrei a moment or two before the Chazan, and therefore when the Chazan finishes and says the words Ga'al Yisrael, you're already in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, and therefore certainly you would never interrupt to say Amen. Now in the evening Shemoneh Esrei, in the evening services, there's another couple paragraphs after Ga'al Yisrael, and therefore over there we do say Amen to the Chazan's bracha of Ga'al Yisrael. You'll notice right before Shemoneh Esrei, there's one small line where it says Hashem Sefsai Tiftach Ufi Agit Tilasecha. God, please open up my lips and help my mouth recite your praises. That's an introductory phrase to Shemoneh Esrei, acknowledging that even our ability to talk to God, we can only do if God gives us, if God allows, if God does that for us. Since that's connected to Shemoneh Esrei, even though it's not really part of Shemoneh Esrei, because it's connected to Shemoneh Esrei, that's not considered a break between that blessing of Ga'al Yisrael and the Shemoneh Esrei. This concludes today's episode. Again, I apologize for my voice. Have a wonderful day and see you on the next episode.